Alan Thicke's League of Gentlemen.
This is football.
Football! Where football means football.
Are you ready for some football?
You think football is still fun?
Yes.
That's a really lame fantasy. You gotta start watching more porno.
Do you play fantasy football? Do you? Okay. Dating anybody recently?
I didn't think so.
Alan Thicke's League of Gentlemen podcast, Week 10 preview.
I'm Bob Costco, and don't blame me, I voted for Kodos.
It doesn't matter whether you're black or white or Hispanic or Asian, gay or straight.
We must move forward, not backward, upward, not forward, and always whirling, whirling, whirling towards freedom.
You can make it here in America if you're willing to try.
And now, our feature presentation. Go!
40-year-old virgin.
It's not about butthole pleasures at all.
Versus
85's not scared to decker.
A monster matchup is what starts it all off here in the Alan Thicke's League of Gentlemen Week 10 preview. Two teams leading their divisions. 40-year-old virgin at 7-2 and 85's not scared to decker 6-3. Coming up, a monster 180-plus point performance last week. This should be a doozy. Teams 1 and 2 in the league fighting for top prize. And just to get a little more insight, we're going to talk to one of the guys who's going to be taking the field in this matchup and who's on a pretty big hot streak right now. Tampa Bay running back, a member of the Decker squad, Doug Martin, joining us now. Had a monster game 2 weeks ago against Minnesota, and then last week able to go out and score over 50. Now, Doug, I mean, how do you take a great game like the one you had in Minnesota and then build upon that going into last week?
It was a good game, the Vikings game, and I just didn't look much past it. My mom, she called me and she was so excited and she was very excited that I had a great game, and that's how I felt about it. I was just like, it's one game and I got the rest of the season to go, and I'm just focused on the next game. Now,
you play for James Hadley. That's your owner and coach, and there's been a lot said about him, that he's racist, has a losing history, but things seem to be on the up and up this year. What does Hadley bring to the table?
He's very detail-oriented, and, that meaning that, you need to be on time, change the thing called family, forget about me, I love you, or sacrifice for you, and to have that family, that unity as a football team.
Oh, well, that sounds uber gay. That's Doug Martin, Tampa Bay running back. Thank you for joining us, sir. We wish you best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Oh, God. What's next?
Vandalay Industries
versus
Lolo and the Bunnymen.
Well, as a tree said to the lumberjack, I'm stumped.
There is a playoff-type atmosphere surrounding this one. Two teams on the brink of making those playoffs. Vandalay Industries, they're 5-4, currently holding on to the 5th spot in the league, and the team that is on the outside looking in the 7th spot, Lolo and the Bunnymen, they're 4-5 right now, and both of these teams are on a hot streak coming in. They've won combined their last 5 games heading into this one. Now we're going to bring in one of our fantasy experts here, a guy who, he's been to a few Pro Bowls. He knows a few things about this game that they play called football. It's former Pro Bowl safety Darren Woodson. Now, Darren, this Lolo team here, not what we've seen from them in the past, but they're getting hot now. Darren, are you buying into the hype that this is a championship contender?
I'm not a big believer that this team is as talented as everyone is saying.
But you admit that this team does have some talent.
Yeah, I think at the skill position, they're very talented. We can build around those guys. But they're not a team that's flat from top to bottom, Pro Bowlers or great athletes at the positions that count most. When you're in the trenches and you really have to win a game, they're not as talented. All
right, switching sides, what about the Vandalay Industries? What do you think of this team?
Very well coached football team. Are they as talent-wise, I think you can match those two teams up. I think a lot of it has to do with the guys you draft and the attitudes that they come in with. Do a good job of drafting guys or bringing guys in through free agency, veteran players, and getting guys to buy into their role.
Right on. Thanks, Darren. It was nice seeing you.
You too now.
T-Boner
versus
Vegas Odds Makers.
I mean, all that place is skinny guys rubbing up against you in buses and subways, jabbing you in the thigh with their thing.
Yeah, country's is weird.
Two teams heading in different directions here. T-Boner, big time win last week, putting up lots of points. They are 6-3 right now, tied for the lead in the Kyle Orton division. Then the Vegas Odds Makers, they're on a downslide. They're 3-6. They need this game to keep playoff hopes alive. And we're going to bring in one of the players now who will be taking the field this weekend. T-Boner kicker Robbie Gould joining us here on the Alan Thicke's League of Gentlemen podcast. Robbie, we'll start with your quarterback. Very controversial. A lot's been said about Michael Vick. A lot of people criticizing him. Is he a good guy for your team this year? Tell us if he's a good guy.
First of all, he's a great guy. He's a great teammate. He's a great leader. Second of all, he's got a lot of great talent at the quarterback position.
Robbie, your Boner squad, they've been in a lot of close games this year, and I know you don't give a fuck if the Bears win or lose. But, well, I mean, what is it like for you? You know, it's Monday night game, third quarter, irrelevant field goal in the game, but you know deep down that the Boners winning or losing rides on that kick. I mean, do you get nervous in situations like that?
No, I never get nervous about that. That's part of our job.
All right, Robbie, and we gotta ask. You're a Penn State graduate, so were you surprised about the whole Jerry Sandusky incident?
You know, I wasn't.
So were you aware that the rape of children was going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
And did you witness or remember any of this happening on campus at Penn State or somewhere near Penn State?
My biggest memory is in the playground or in the driveway, whatever it may be.
Oh, how did you feel about these acts? What did you say?
To say, hey, you know what, I belong here, and this has been very special.
Oh, did these things hurt for the kids? Were they in pain?
Well, it definitely hurts.
Oh, that's horrifying, knowing something like that would be happening on playgrounds and in and around the Penn State campus. I mean, how did players feel if they knew this was happening, where they worked out and practiced?
Obviously, you gain more respect from your teammates by being in the weight room.
T-Boner kicker Robbie Gould, you, sir, are vile, and I hope you rot in hell.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Weathers Warriors
versus
Tom Landry MS Longhorns.
Weathers Warriors coming off a loss, but they're still in good shape, 6-3, looking to make their push towards the playoffs. And a team that they're not eliminated yet, but they have to win now, and they have to close out the season all wins. It's the Tom Landry MS Longhorns. They're 1-8, and we are going to talk now to one of our experts, Chris Carter, former wide receiver, joining us here. Tough loss last week for the Warriors, but this is a good team, right, Chris?
They're a very good football team, and the team is put together well. Offensively, they have the weapons.
Like A.J. Green.
He's one of the best receivers in the league. He's earned that, and he's exploiting that.
Well, what about Matt Ryan? He's cooled down a tad the last couple weeks, but where do we stand on him?
Overall, Matty Ice is playing at an MVP level, and I believe he can beat any team on any given day. That's a good football team.
All right, thanks a bunch. That is Chris Carter, not in the Hall of Fame. Quite surprising. It's probably because he's one of the most annoying people on ESPN's Monday Night Countdown.
Hey, bro, you mind putting on some pants? I find it a little weird I have to ask twice.
Everton Decepticons versus the Rodney Dangerfields.
The Everton Decepticons, tough loss last week. They are now a game back in the Kyle Orton division and currently are clinging to the final playoff spot. But a big week from Peyton Manning and Arian Foster could keep them in it. They're taking on the 2-7 Rodney Dangerfields. And let's be honest, the Dangerfields are a piece of shit. Brett White has a small penis and he is expected to be fired at some point this season. We're now going to bring in ESPN's Adam Schefter to talk to us about, well, I mean, you can look at these teams here, losing records, Dangerfields, the Tom Landry Longhorns. There's talk of coaches being fired or coordinators being let go. Is this something that we could be seeing happening soon?
Well, I always think that in the NFL, hunting season, as I like to call it, begins right around Thanksgiving. And in this day and age of Twitter and heightened expectations, everything's become unreasonable and unmanageable. And I think because there's so much pressure and so much expectations and so much discussion about each of these head coaching jobs, whenever a team suffers a loss and there are any questions about that organization or coach, they're going to be amplified the next week. There's a little bit of a perfect storm, and I think hunting season has begun earlier.
All right, thanks, Kylie. Once again, that is Adam Schefter reporting on the coach firings. I really don't give a fuck about Brett White. I hope that guy dies in a tire fire. But that's going to do it all for this week's edition of the Alan Thicke's League of Gentlemen Fantasy Preview. Join us next week. Adam Vinatieri's going to stop by to talk about what it's like to kick a field goal or something. And why do we keep getting the kickers? Can we get some real players on here next week? John, piece of shit.
Folks, that's the news, and I am out of here.